Thank you all for coming on this beautiful day. My name is Matt Cate. I'm the Executive Director of the California State Association of Counties. We're here today to talk about the issue of the number of mentally ill people in the United States that are involved in the criminal justice system. You're going to hear from state leaders and you're going to hear from national leaders. And most importantly, a national initiative called Stepping Up. We're going to be challenging counties in California and counties across the country to increase our investment in treatment, to try to focus on public safety through dealing effectively with the mentally ill in our communities, and to try to save on resources by properly treating folks on the front end who need this treatment so badly. We have a number of important speakers, so I'm going to get right to that. Beginning today with State Senator Robert Hertzberg, representing San Fernando Valley. Senator Hertzberg.
Thank you, baby. Hi, everybody. It's my first press conference since I've been back, so bear with me. As Mr. Cate said, we are here today as part of a national effort. And I want to stress the notion of a national effort to address an extraordinary crisis. The number of people who are incarcerated, the mentally ill who are incarcerated, winding up in our jails. It is an extraordinary problem, and it is wonderful to see this group of people here today on a national effort to address it, and we in California being part of it. I'm very proud to be here today with the President of the National Association of Counties, the Orange County Sheriff, the President-elect of the American Psychiatric Association, the San Diego County Sheriff's Probation Officer, and of course, our wonderful and great former Speaker Pro Tem, the leading national advocate on mental health, Senator Darrell Steinberg. The increase in incarcerated offenders who have mental illness is nothing less than unbelievable. In Los Angeles, where I represent part of that community, 3,500 of our inmates in that system alone need medication to address their mental illness. And LA jails house more people with mental illness than any treatment facility in the country. Today is part, as I suggested, of a national coming together of mental health professionals and law enforcement experts to address this critical issue. On this very issue, Senator Steinberg, when he was President Pro Tem of the Senate, was able, among many other accomplishments, to obtain $18 million last year to reestablish the Mentally Ill Offender Crime Reduction Program. According to the Board of State and Community Corrections, over $32.5 million was requested from 24 of the 58 counties throughout California to fund this Mentally Ill Offender Crime Reduction Program. As I suggested, the need is obvious and huge. We hope to continue to fund innovative programs with this new grant program, and I, as one small part of this larger endeavor, have introduced SB 612 to clarify that diversion programs are eligible for services that counties may establish with funds from these grants. We believe that over the long haul, non-jail solutions will save money, and it's the right thing to do. Jails are for criminals, not for sick Californians. I have ideas to address some of the budget issues and want to stress that I'm part of a much larger effort, on a national effort, together with Senator Hutchins, Senator Steinberg, and other national leaders. And I've got to race off to go back to the floor. We're in the middle of a vote, but it gives me great pride to call Senator Steinberg my friend. He is an extraordinary leader. He has fought for mental health with every bone of his body and has changed every part of California and how we deal with it. Ladies and gentlemen, the former Pro Tem, Senator Darrell Steinberg.
Thank you very much, Senator Hertzberg. It means a whole lot that you would leave an important floor vote to come on out here and speak about this important issue. I'm so glad that you and others are carrying the mantle. Look, in California, we have a lot to be proud of. The passage of the Mental Health Services Act in 2004, helping 35,000 people a year with the most serious and debilitating mental illnesses. We've used our budget in better times to begin to fund MyOker and other strategies to help improve the lives of those living with mental illness, but the gap between what we've been able to do and the need is still tremendous. And the statistics tell us more than we would ever want to know. Nearly 80% of U.S. inmates suffer from manic depression disorder, major depression, or psychotic disorders. That compares with about 13% of the general population. In prison, a national survey showed if you're mentally ill, you're much more likely to be charged with a prison rule violation and twice as likely to be injured in a prison fight. And here's a statistic that is really troubling. The voters in California passed Proposition 36 several years ago, which allows 3 strikers who were convicted of a nonviolent crime as a third strike to potentially be resentenced. 24% of eligible 3 strikers have had their resentencing petitions denied, compared with, and this is the key number, 76% of mentally ill inmates have had their petitions denied, according to a recent study. There is far too much human suffering going on in our prisons and jails, and unnecessarily so. These issues are pervasive in our jails, in our prisons, outside our jails, and outside our prisons. And yet there remains a persistent gap between the pervasiveness of these issues and the amount of political attention that is getting paid throughout the country to doing something serious about it. And that's why I'm so happy to stand with NACO and our own state association of counties and law enforcement leaders throughout our state here to say it's long past time we make funding mental health inside our jails and prisons and outside our jails and prisons a real priority. It's about time that leaders in every branch of government, when it comes to budget, say this shouldn't be an afterthought, this must be the first thought. For it's connected to so many other things we spend a lot of money on, less effectively and less efficiently, and certainly less humanely. And so this is a call to action. We're on the verge, in my view, of a movement here to make mental health a priority, a funding priority, and not an afterthought. Let's use today's call to action as a motivation, as the May Revise comes out next week, as the legislature and governor begin debating the budget, to make sure we enhance MyOCR, to make sure that we enhance other innovative strategies to help get people with mental illness out of jail and back into society safe, reconnected, and at minimal risk of recommitting crimes. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Senator Steinberg. In the audience today, we have representing Southern California and our urban counties, Supervisor Kathy Long from Ventura County. We also have representing Central California and our suburban counties, CSAC President Vito Chiesa, and representing Northern California and our rural counties, CSAC First Vice President Richard Forrester. Thank you all for being here. Our national leader, Maui County Commissioner Ricky Hokama, is with us today. He is the president of the National Association of Counties. He's made it very clear that having 2 million Americans in jail with mental illness is not acceptable. He's taken a lead nationally on the issue. We thank him very much and welcome him to the podium. President Ricky Hokama.
Aloha. Obviously, you know I'm from Hawaii. But first I want to say good morning to all of you. Thank you for this opportunity to address and share some thoughts regarding a very serious issue. As I've been introduced by Matt Kate, my name is Ricky Hokama, and I am the council member from Maui County, Hawaii. But I also have the privilege of representing 3,069 counties across the country under the organization called National Association of Counties. And we are a true partner on this initiative called Stepping Up. County jails admit more than 11 million people every year. Together, we spend more than $70 billion per year on public safety. That includes our jails, courts, and law enforcement. Now, out of those 11 million people, about 2 million have some sort of serious mental illness. Our counties spend 2 to 3 times more on people with mental illness in jails than they do on people without those needs. Once incarcerated, people with mental illness tend to stay longer in jail and are at higher risk of reincarceration than individuals without these illnesses. Now, the additional time and resources devoted to these individuals with mental illness results in strained county budgets and burden taxpayers with doing little to impact the individuals and their families in any positive way. Individual counties, like many here in California, have already been stepping up to reduce the number of people with mental illness in jails and providing effective, community-based treatment for people with those needs. Now counties are seeking to do more. We are part of a national effort to promote effective policies and practices across the country to have a significant impact on this population. This morning, we are proud to partner with the Council of State Governments, Justice Center, and the American Psychiatric Foundation on Stepping Up, a national initiative to reduce the number of people with mental illnesses in jails. We are grateful to the United States Department of Justice's Bureau of Justice Assistance for the support of our initiative. And one of the things I do want to say is, it's a shame that county jails by default becomes the nation's mental health institutions. We should do better, we must do better, we deserve better. And I can tell you that for this state, from the spectrum that we deal with it nationally, you deal with it in this state also. From an LA County of 10+ million people to an Alpine County in California of 1,200 people. For an Alpine County, one inmate with mental illness issues doesn't just break a jail budget, it breaks the county's budget. That is the impact of this serious situation that our counties are facing across the country, is what happens then to the rest of the important core services counties must continue to provide to its citizenry to protect the citizens' quality of life. I thank you for being here today and I ask all of you to please join us in stepping up. Thank you.
Thank you, President Hokama. It is my pleasure to now introduce Sheriff Sandra Hutchins, our Orange County Sheriff. I can tell you she's not only a leader of one of our largest law enforcement agencies in the state, she's also a thought leader in California and across the country on public safety defined in the largest sense. A person of integrity and a person who's really taken the lead in the forefront of addressing these issues, Sheriff Hutchins.
Good morning. I am the sheriff for Orange County. I am here today representing the California State Sheriff's Association as a member of the Board of Directors and the Major County Sheriff's Association, where I serve as Vice President. You will not find a sheriff in this state or in this nation who is not struggling with the growing population of people who are mentally ill in our jails. This is not a new problem, but it is becoming an even bigger problem. 37 years ago, as a deputy sheriff for Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, I worked at the Civil Brand Institute for Women. Frequently, I was assigned to supervise a cell block of inmates who were chronically and severely mentally ill. Most were in custody due to crimes they committed because they were mentally ill. The same women would go through the revolving door time and time again, in and out of jail, without any other options for treatment. I couldn't understand then, as a 23-year-old deputy, any better than I can understand now, as a 60-year-old sheriff, why so many mentally ill people are spending time in our jails instead of receiving the mental health care they desperately need and in an environment conducive to recovery. I have had the opportunity to speak to many fathers, mothers, and other family members who are dealing with someone in their life who is mentally ill and in and out of jail because they are committing crimes or self-medicating. They speak of the frustration of trying to get help for their loved ones, to no avail, and they speak of dealing with the pain of seeing them in jail. It is frustrating for me and them that we do not have an answer to this dilemma. The number of people with mental illness in our jails has reached a crisis level. The current approach is costly to taxpayers and does not address the core issue, effective treatment programs and alternatives to incarceration. As you've heard already, every year, 2 million adults with serious mental illnesses like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and major depression are admitted to jails, including many who also have drug and alcohol use problems. Many people with mental illness are arrested for relatively minor crimes, such as loitering or causing a public disturbance, which tend to stem from their illness or from their addiction. Your local jail, not a psychiatric hospital, houses the most people with mental illness in counties across this nation. On behalf of President Martin Ryan of the California State Sheriff's Association and President Donnie Youngblood, President of the Major County Sheriff's Association, we support the National Association of Counties, the Council of State Governments, Justice Center, and the American Psychiatric Foundation in the Stepping Up initiative. And we thank CSAC for hosting this press conference today on this important issue. We can all do a better job of addressing this issue by working together on the solution. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. I think it's important to note that this is an initiative that involves law enforcement because that's where we have this crisis happening, but it also involves the clinical side, and it's just as important, and we're very glad to have Dr. Renee Bender, President-elect of the American Psychiatric Association, to join us today to talk about the Stepping Up initiative. Dr. Bender.
Thank you. So the American Psychiatric Association Foundation and the American Psychiatric Association is committed to decreasing the presentation of patients with mental illness to the criminal justice system. I would like to thank the National as well as the California State Association of Counties and the Council of State Governments for sponsoring this event, and we at the American Psychiatric Association Foundation are thrilled to work on this initiative. I'm a forensic psychiatrist. I practice in San Francisco, and every day I see the loss of potential of people who are in the criminal justice system. And I always think to myself, if only we had better treatment programs and better systems of care. As a researcher at the University of California, San Francisco Medical School, I've done research on the issues of mental health courts and have shown that diversion programs can also help decrease people being treated in the criminal justice system where they don't belong in the first place. The American Psychiatric Association is about to publish a book this summer on standards for treatment of people with mental illness who are in the criminal justice system. And I am the incoming president of the American Psychiatric Association, and one of my initiatives during my APA presidency is to try and decrease the criminalization of people with mental illness. In April of 2016, we will be having a day-long summit followed by a marquee event on April 6, 2016, where we will be working with stakeholders to highlight this issue, to improve outcomes, and also to save money. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Bender. Our last speaker, San Diego County Probation Chief Mac Jenkins, also a national leader in this area. I can tell you it's a special privilege to have Chief Jenkins here because he's also really been an integral part of putting this initiative together and pushing it from a national level. I know the Council of State Governments has a great deal of faith in him. I want to thank Mike Thompson, their director, for helping put this together. And please join me in welcoming Chief Mac Jenkins.
Good morning, and thank you, Matt, and thank you also, CSAC, for hosting this event. The CSG Justice Center has supported policymakers at the intersection of criminal justice and mental health from its foundation. And the 2002 Criminal Justice Mental Health Consensus Project brought together hundreds of policymakers and practitioners to develop policy statements that would produce further collaboration in this area. The Justice Center is very proud to be the Bureau of Justice Assistance Training and Technical Assistance Provider for the Justice and Mental Health Collaboration Program, which was a federal grant program similar to the California MIOCR program Senator Hertzberg described earlier today. I'm very pleased, privileged in fact, to be representing both the Justice Center and San Diego on an issue that is critical, that's a critical one both nationally and here in California. You know, it is a particularly fortuitous time for this initiative. Almost 4 years ago, this state undertook what I describe as a seismic shift in the way that it does criminal justice. With the implementation of public safety realignment, some of you may know it as AB 109. The passage of AB 109 shifted thousands of offenders from the state to the counties. So counties and probation departments like my own are now faced with working with a larger percentage of individuals who suffer from mental illness and co-occurring substance abuse disorders. In fact, I can tell you in San Diego County, up to 84% of our realignment population has been assessed as having a need in a substance abuse area. And a high percentage, not quite as high, have also been assessed as having diagnosable mental illness. So in San Diego, we're responding to this challenge with a very strong collaboration with our criminal justice and behavioral health partners, because we know firsthand the importance of utilizing data-driven practices to reduce recidivism and promote recovery. We know that screening and assessment gives us information about risk and needs in order to safely supervise people in the community and give them the best chance for future success. Our efforts are actually showing some success. Our most recent recidivism reports in San Diego County show that 77% of the realignment offenders finished their term without a conviction for a new crime. In 2011, I had the opportunity to serve with a number of judges, clinicians, and criminal justice practitioners from around the state on the Judicial Council of California's Task Force for Criminal Justice Collaboration on Mental Health Issues. We produced a report with more than 60 recommendations to enhance and strengthen the collaboration between criminal justice and mental health. This initiative provides a great opportunity to implement some of those recommendations to improve outcomes. Another thing this initiative is doing is it will fund and drive an opportunity for a conversation that's starting to take place where we are literally redesigning the front end of the criminal justice system so that we're making decisions about individuals not by the crime that they pled to or were convicted of, by really what their behaviors are and what their needs are. That's what this is going to lead to. So as we've seen today, we're moving past where we still hear too often about shifting blame and responsibility between states and counties. As San Diego County's Chief Probation Officer and a board member with the Council of State Governments and Justice Center, I know personally that state and local government need to work together in order to improve outcomes. State policies and funding decisions create, or they can preclude, opportunities at the local level. Decisions and practices at the local level mean the success or failure of state policy. In the complex area of justice and mental health, it's fitting that NACO and CSG are working together to galvanize leaders at both the county and state level to literally step up. And we're thrilled to have the partnership of the American Psychiatric Foundation, who can bring their unique expertise of their members to truly make justice involvement an opportunity for positive, life-changing health experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. This concludes our event today. I want to put a special thank you to all of those who participated, to our partners at the California State Sheriff's Association, the California Probation Chiefs Association, to CSG for their great work, National Association of Counties, American Psychiatric Association. I want to make a special mention of Jessica Cruz, who's here today from the National Association for the Mentally Ill. A terrific outpouring of support. So thank you all very much. We look forward to working with all of our partners on a going forward basis to address this issue. Thank you very much.